What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Save Point Podcast, episode 31. I am one of your hosts, Alex, and I'm joined, as always, by Sway. We're here for the last of the pre-recorded videos, at least right now, this 3-week stretch, episode 31 and all. We've done a couple different things, Sway, and in this episode, this was another one of your ideas. I think you pioneered all three of these. So I got to give you credit for the topics for all of them. I think no, the favorite characters. I think that came from the community. That was organic. This came from like thinking from between us. So we want to talk about music and. Music for me is something that I often overlook whenever like I review a game, whenever I talk about a game, like when it's out in the moment. I always, like, literally, it's like clockwork. I forget to mention the soundtrack, the music, but music is like one of the most important things I think in a game. It can almost make or break it. It can definitely add like an extra element to it. And we're here to talk about, I guess, its purpose and also some of our favorites. So, I just kind of said my background with music. What do you do? Like, do you think about it in the moment? Is it something you think back to like years later? Like, what does music in games kind of mean to you?
Um, Kind of a lot of things. Sometimes with certain games, like Kingdom Hearts is a perfect
That's
example
the
of a
first one I thought
franchise
of.
where
Yeah.
such great music, but it's like the music is the most iconic thing to me. And there's a lot of iconic things about Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the first thing I think of is Simple and Clean.
Yep.
The first thing I think of is
That's
Simple and Clean when I
hilarious.
think
That's literally,
Kingdom
yeah,
Hearts.
that's exactly how I came at it. I was thinking Kingdom Hearts is the first game I can think of with music. Sanctuary,
hmm
simple and clean, just that, in general. That's the first thing I go to.
The very first thing. And then with other games, some of them like add to the game. Like I'm a rhythm based person in general.
Yeah.
When it comes to doing activities,
Yeah.
so hearing a good song that matches the flow of the game pace, really, 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 like I always notice it right then and there. And something like Devil May Cry, each and every time, like it'll never disappoint. The song always fits the situation. And five specifically just had a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey was another one where I really enjoyed the music there. And then sometimes you just have a game where like you can just have the right score and it fits the moment. And I think of God of War Ragnarok, right when you're going into like towards the last, like that last battle where you're in that
Yeah.
last big battle and
Yeah.
everybody's going at it, and that score was just beautiful as well.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, do you like for me, what I find interesting is sometimes you'll have music like you mentioned Kingdom Hearts, and Kingdom Hearts has both. So it's got an artist that she does her own thing. She makes albums, and these songs were some of them were taken from the albums, right? So not, I mean, maybe made with Kingdom Hearts in mind. I know they kind of collaborate back and forth, but that, I guess, versus the score made specifically for the game. You know what I mean? So I can even think of like Life is Strange. There's the first game I think also has an elite soundtrack from a lot of like indie artists that I do not think those songs were made for Life is Strange. They just took it, right? They said this would really fit the
Yeah.
situation. So is there a blend for you? Do you prefer the games that have just like the score for the game versus they're taking artist songs and trying to fit in? How do you like balance those two separate things?
I like both, but I have a clear preference of songs made for the game.
Yeah.
They just specifically further immerse you in there. Like
Yeah.
even when it's something as simple as a mention of the game, like it was like Jump Jump or something like that for Mario Odyssey, the main song for there. But it was clearly made for Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
Odyssey was in the the chorus. So I love Devil Trigger from Devil May Cry. Love that. Same thing with Bury the Light from Devil May Cry.
I think to
Um
The Last of Us when I think of like an elite score made for,
mhm. Oh
Gustavo
yes,
or he a genius.
genius. I cannot stress enough that even Spider-Man, right? Like Marvel Spider-Man, that score, you could tell it's a Spider-Man theme.
Yeah.
You can tell that it feels like it. And even when they go to Miles and they add a more hip hop and vibrant version to it, it's still it just further immerses you. Like it's nothing like having that music made specifically for the game that gets me into it more.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I think, and because they can kind of play. I mean, I guess they can play around with either of them, where you choose to like
Mm-hmm.
let it loop or have these long, drawn out kind of silent moments. I'm playing Planet of Lana. I think it's Lana, that more indie Xbox game, and I was listening to the music and I was thinking about like I was literally doing it last night, and I thought to today for this episode, I was thinking like they let it draw out where there's just a lot of silence, and then they'll hit you with some like score. So I mean, it's an art form, and what's so cool, we've talked about this with games. I mean, we talk about the favorite characters, and they can match Hollywood, they can match TV and stuff, but the music, I think the music also is more powerful than a lot of the stuff you hear. Now, Hollywood movies tend to have, there can be some really cool, you think of Star Wars, or I think of Pirates of the
Yes.
Caribbean. Hans Zimmer, I think, is maybe the most talented kind of musician in that sphere. So I think it's probably not as that's probably more tight, where like the music is more like even, but it can do like amazing things for games. Just
For sure.
being able to like live in it. And some of my favorite soundtracks, when I think to it, probably does come from a game. For like Pirates, I do think is probably like my favorite. Maybe my favorite soundtrack, like period, is Pirates.
Oh, the Pirates theme, I randomly just will go
Oh yeah.
around the house and just dun dun
Yeah,
dun dun dun
yeah,
dun,
yeah,
dun,
yeah.
dun.
I mean, you can go through a journey with. I specifically remember when 3 came out, and even years later, I will still listen to the full soundtrack of the movie of Pirates 3. I wish I had it like on DVD. Somebody bought me for Christmas like the Star Wars Force Awakens soundtrack, and it's good, but it's like it's an odd thing to do. I want the Pirates 3 one if anybody's looking for like a birthday gift idea after my birthday, which is when this episode would be. So we both mentioned Kingdom Hearts. What do you think? Like and much like the characters, I don't know if we will say like a top 5, top 10, but I do want to kind of understand if we do have like a top 1 or top 2. Do you think Kingdom Hearts is the best one? I don't want to label something my best, but I feel like Kingdom Hearts is just literally so much. I can't think what game is better than Kingdom Halo. Halo's really good.
Halo, I think, has one of the most iconic
Yeah,
songs to like, and that's why I think
like
that
the
it
main
is
menu
like,
theme, kind of.
hmm
Yeah,
I
so good.
think that that is so good. It's one of the most iconic ever, and it stands the test of time. And I think that Kingdom Hearts does that on a more consistent scale. You
Yeah,
see people talk about that one theme for Halo, which is definitely at the top of gaming themes,
yeah,
but Kingdom Hearts has more. And when it comes to the consistency and the variety, I would have to give it to Kingdom Hearts.
yeah.
They never disappoint.
Yeah, I think with Sanctuary and Simple and Clean, that I think can match anything you can come up with another game, and then you just have like the theme, like the main menu theme
Yep.
of with the piano, which is just you can't beat it. Like I can't.
Can't.
Uncharted has always been like the main menu theme of Uncharted, and I love listening to like the evolution. I don't know if you ever seen like the evolution of the main menu theme of Uncharted from 1 to 4, because it
I
definitely
have not.
they add like in the first game it's very bare bones. You can tell there's not as many instruments, and then once you hit to 2, but as you go up, they're like adding an orchestra to the main menu, where they did not have that in the first game, and you can hear the main menu music of the first game. So Uncharted's always one of my favorite. Life is Strange. If I were to do a top 5, if I were to humor, I do think Kingdom Hearts would be number 1. I think Uncharted's got to be in there. I do think Life is Strange. Like I'd be willing to say that. The Last of Us is good at the top. I don't know if the consistency's there, because now I got to start. Okay, my favorite games. I will say, like Sly Cooper, I don't think of its soundtrack ever. I will never think of Sly's soundtrack. So although I've always made the argument for him as a character in the series, I don't think I'd say the music for it. Halo, I think probably deserves like a mention. Do you have any like outside of Kingdom Hearts that you would like for sure say is Top? Would
For
Assassin's
me,
Creed
I
be
would.
top? Because
I would say so.
that's kind of up
It's
there.
iconic.
Yeah.
I would say for me, my top five, if I had to, and
If we were
this could
forced,
easily
which we're not. We're
change.
not forced.
We're not.
We're not actually doing it, but we
um,
are.
this is just off the dome right now
Yeah.
in this moment. It would definitely change like 10 minutes from now. But I would say in this moment, Kingdom Hearts, Devil May Cry,
Okay.
Mortal Kombat,
Ooh.
Halo, um, and man,
Yeah, it's tough.
I love it. You see, it's so when you get to five because like I want to say Odyssey because I really love the Odyssey theme, but it's so like getting in Nintendo games in general. Like their music is across the board. Like old Zelda games,
It's true.
most Mario games, even Sonic games. Like Sonic, what was the last game that came out for Sonic?
Frontiers.
Frontier, Sonic Frontiers, because I had watched my friend play it in the share play, and because I was seeing if I wanted to get it and debating on getting it. I am
Yeah.
gonna get it at some point. But one thing that won me over more than anything was the soundtrack. The songs that were playing in that game, I was like, God, this is amazing.
Yeah. I was at no joke as you're talking about Nintendo. I was gonna bring up Sonic as like an aside, and I was gonna ask you about fighting games because I know you're into it. And you said Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I'm trying to think like outside of Nintendo. I think is kind of known for it. I'm trying to think of like the bigger Xbox franchises. Like I don't think to Gears. I will say the more emotional songs in Telltale's The Walking Dead that kind of
Yes.
fit with Lee and Clementine. Those are, I mean, you almost have to think not just to your favorite games, but then, and that's what's so cool about music, right? Like those iconic scenes. It's not just two actors act. I mean, it's, that's a good amount of it, but it's the background to it as well. It is the music. You can think to The Last of Us. I can think to one of the main reasons why I love the ending of Uncharted 4 so much is it has when Cassie is outside on the beach, it's the main theme of Uncharted, but played super soft and played on piano. And this, I think at that time, it's the only time they ever had done that. So it takes kind of what you know, kind of softens it. It's like, this is it. This is goodbye. And it's playing it on piano versus like a whole, orchestra, trumpets and all that. So like, I think to the ending, because it is such a goodbye and, Nate telling her about, the life they had. And that's so beautiful. But I always think to that music. I actually think to the music first. That's the first thing I think of.
Say anytime, I say all emotional moments from God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. If you go back and watch it, music is probably deserving of, I'd say, 60% of the emotion you get from it
Yeah.
because it's perfectly placed. The perfect tune. It's one of those games in recent memories where I can think of like what game have I played recently where I'm like the music is noticeably making me feel something. That would probably be the game for me. And
Yeah.
there's music that makes me feel in games that make me feel nostalgic. There's things in the Street Fighter 6 game where like some of the character themes actually have older themes that they had in other games mixed into them very subtly. And just seeing the themes for like each character, it does give you a certain vibe and a certain feeling for each character. Um, Kind of like adding to their personality. And I say that they do that a lot for games, and Star Wars would be one of the biggest franchises to kind of speak to that towards.
Yeah.
Um, the games always like the Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor both have great soundtracks.
Yeah.
They both have great music. The music hits at the right perfect time. And it's just one of those things where it's like it can make an entire experience for your game. And I struggle to you see it in Hollywood, like you said earlier, like you see it in Hollywood and it's much more tighter there, but it's just something about interacting with something constantly and having that music there that kind of like it's a feeling you can't get
Yeah.
Like watching a movie, that's a different feeling, but this is also a different feeling.
Yeah. Have you I assume Kingdom Hearts would be an answer to this, or at least one of, but are there games that you just sit on the main menu and you listen to it?
Oh, Kingdom Hearts was one that I used to sit like the opening. Fun fact: the opening scene to Kingdom Hearts, the first one, I would literally just cut the game off, turn it back on, and just to watch it again and listen to it. I also like listening to the main menu. Like when I was younger, Kingdom Hearts was one very, very like game where it's just like I did whatever I could to get to the music that I wanted.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat was like the original Mortal Kombat's was one that like some that I loved. Street Fighter 6 actually a recent one. Like I like the main theme for that. So I've actually worked out to it. I've worked out
Nice.
to Simple and Clean too. So
Oh, you can do anything to simple and clean for sure. Yeah, no.
you sure can.
Yeah, I like the Kingdom Hearts for, and sometimes I'll just like listen to the soundtrack. Like I said, for like Pirates, I'll listen to it for. I would say the top three games that I've listened to the soundtrack on YouTube just for fun, whether it's like on my phone, and my wife will be like, "Why are you listening to that?" Because I'll just like randomly do it. Kingdom Hearts for sure, Life is Strange, and then Uncharted 4. Those are the three that I'll just randomly, like it's not on a schedule or anything, but sometimes I'll just say I want to listen to the main menu or like the main theme of Life is Strange, or when they have like YouTube videos of like it just on repeat for 3 hours, and that's like the title, like Life is Strange main menu 3 hour loop, and it's like that's perfect. That's I'd like to have that on sometimes just in the background. Yeah, those are maybe those three. I said those three I think would be my top five anyway. Anything else you want to say for music? I feel it's so powerful, but because it is music, it's hard to like talk about too specific, as specifically as you can for like characters and stuff.
I think one thing that I literally just thought of now, just thinking about music that I like. I'm trying to think of like over the past year. Have you ever had a game where you like the music but you strongly
Oh,
dislike the game?
oh man. Um. I,
That would be Saints Row for me, the last one.
oh,
Just the
okay.
main menu music. I love the main menu song.
Yeah.
I did that game frustrates me
I
greatly.
don't think I gave enough thought to Saints Row like ever while I was even playing it to like focus too much
I
on it.
don't blame you.
There,
I don't blame you.
I think there's times where the music is better than the game. I don't know if it's like super super polar opposites. I also feel because again like music in games is something that I think I do subconsciously like take in, but then I don't think about like in that moment, or I'll think about it, like later. But there are some times where I'm like, ooh, there's some odd pauses like in sound. Like there's no sound here so sound design. That's something I feel like I'm pretty aware of in games, even though I don't again like in watch any review of mine, I'll never mention these like lulls in like sound or anything like that, but I do think about that in the moment. And again, like a recent example, that Planet of Lana game is actually extremely good. It's everything Somerville, by the way. If you're watching this 2 months later, it's everything Somerville should have been. It's actually really really good. But there are some like odd moments where, especially like I find some games, right? If they kind of let you explore or they let you take your time, or I guess if you're not like an on rail section, right? If you can just go around and do stuff, sometimes like the game will just cut out. Like there won't be sound, there won't be music, there won't really even be like environmental noises that are happening. Those that I like to always be, in it. I do think that's something that movies have to their advantage, probably because they're like 2 hours long versus a game can be 100 or 2 or 5 or whatever. But it's the movie's always moving, right? So you're always either hearing you're always hearing things, whether it's actors or sound or music or whatever. For games, I do find there can be moments. You know what I mean? I think that's probably true, right? Television, movies, there is probably always noise happening at all times. In games, there
At
can
all times.
legitimately be sections, specifically maybe if you can't figure out a puzzle and you're like in a room, there will be no noise. Everything will go quiet. And that, that I've never liked.
I feel like silence in most cases where you have like a good team behind the product, silence is almost music in itself, but
Yes.
that's normally used for a specific moment that's supposed to make you feel a specific thing.
Right.
But when it's just dead silence
Yeah.
for the sake of having dead silence, then it is clearly noticeable.
Right. And that's the difference, because I think when you are on a like an on rails thing, right, or you're in the middle of a moment in a game, they control it. So they can cut out the sound, but it'd be on purpose. It'd be for a reason, and they would put it back, whatever. But when you're, again, like, I think doing a puzzle is a good example, because I get stuck. I'm an idiot, so I cannot figure out puzzles to save my life. I can
Me
be
and you
sitting,
both.
yeah, I can be sitting there for like 5-10 minutes, and then there's nothing. Like, you're just looking at it, and there's no music, there's nothing coming out of it, because they're waiting for you. Basically, they're like, all right, well, finish the puzzle, then we'll give you the music back, because you'll move to a new area, and I can't do it. So partially my fault, but that is a thing that, of course, I think gaming has in a negative versus other things, because everything else is always moving. You don't really have time for that. But but you have the puzzle elements, so you're thinking a little bit more, and I don't like to think, and I can't really think, so that's kind of difficult. But yeah, I don't know. Well, have you ever experienced? Well, you said Saints Row. Is there any other, like, I can't think of a game that it's either like the whole game is just so sour in my mind that like nothing could save it, or I can't really think of a thing where the music was that substantially better and the game was like a piece of garbage. I can't really think of it.
That might be the only case that I can think of in this moment.
Yeah.
Because it was so fresh. Like,
yeah.
when I went back and played it, like I just went back and played the DLC a few weeks ago when they dropped it, and the first thing I like noticed when I turned it on was the main menu theme, and I was like, I really like this theme, but God, why is the game like?
Yeah.
So I definitely would take that. Honorable mention too for games with good music is actually this recent past Fire Emblem. Okay. There's a couple of like they have normally different themes for different sections of the map.
Yeah.
And there's just a few of them that I really love.
I forgot an elite one that should be in a top 5 is Persona. The Persona series. I think to 5. I think to the PlayStation. Now we're recording this for those that don't. I mean, we've kind of hinted. We're recording this early. We're recording this the day after the showcase. I don't know if you saw Sway, but that Square Enix Splatoon ripoff game. The music that's the Persona. I don't know her name, but she's that artist who did 5. So it's Splatoon and Persona, but a ripoff of both. But anyway, so I was thinking about that and thinking, oh my God, yeah, you have to. Persona is so good. The music in Persona. I'm sure if I thought about it more, like we haven't mentioned, we did this I think for characters. We forget open world games. So like, have we thought about GTA or Red Dead or Witcher? Things like that. Trying to think of different like
GTA is a little bit difficult though.
Yeah, I wouldn't say GTA for mine, but
yeah.
Red
Dead might be one where you could say, because they use more. I feel like they do a lot more original music than GTA.
Yeah,
GTA kind of just pulls through. Like there's that GTA sound, of course. Like there's that theme that they have. But typically throughout the game, they're just using music that's on their soundtrack. But Red Dead, I found it was more original.
Yeah.
So it was kind of easier to kind of immerse yourself into.
Yeah. I'm trying to look around and saying I'm looking at my Funko Pops. Mass Effect has really good music. Is there any other games?
Smash Brothers.
Huh? Smash. Yeah, that's a good
Smash
one.
Brothers. Yes. Looked at my poster. I was like, that is a good one.
Well, you have Ark.
The Batman series.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that to you because of the poster. Batman's good. I think Batman. I maybe elite. I don't think I put in like a top 5, but yeah, Batman Arkham is a really good one. There's so many. I mean, like we said, music is so integral to it that when you have a good game, chances are the music is at least good, along with it.
Exactly.
But like I said, is there? Okay, well, let me ask you the reverse, and we'll end it after this. Let me ask you the reverse to your question of the polar opposites. Is there? So I said Sly, like a top tier game for me, but I can't really. The music is good in Sly. I can hear the music, but it's not, I think, like elite. So is there any game like that where the music is not really anything you think of, but the game is insanely good to you? So you have to think of like your favorite games of all time, and then think about if you care about their music. I'll think of you think I'll talk about Sly a little bit more. No, I don't know. Sly is definitely one for me. I guess I could come up with a few more, like Resistance. I can't really think right now of like the music for Resistance. Infamous. I can't really think of the music for Infamous.
Infamous would be. I liked Infamous a lot. The music didn't really wow me. I'd say the same thing for Watch Dogs.
See, I love the soundtrack for the first Watch Dogs. I actually like the artist they picked. I liked it. That's interesting.
The second Watch Dogs, I like
the second,
more.
Yeah.
The soundtrack for the second one, but I was not necessarily like the Legion. I didn't necessarily care for. Like I didn't really notice it enough. Like it wasn't anything that popped out to me.
Yeah.
The first one was okay.
Yeah. Legion, I don't remember a lot about, like in general.
The plot was just, it was everywhere. I still have to play the DLC to that.
Me neither.
Jak and Dexter maybe one.
Okay. Old. Yeah, I think if you go back far enough, I'd like to give an honorable mention to Crash, because I think the main theme of Crash is like so. Okay, no joke. When I was putting the green screen up, like I walk over into the corner to get it, I was humming the Crash theme. And Crash Team Rumble has it playing, in the beginning. It's one thing. It's catchy. It's not too deep. It deserves a mention for like a good. It's not elite, but it's definitely good. I think I'd throw Crash in. I was legitimately humming it like an hour ago.
Crash is always a good. It's always a good go-to. That's
what
I said. Like those are the type of games and like the type of songs that you want, because they will run up time. Like could you imagine if they had like the features they had in like consoles now, where like how much time you've been on the game? A lot of my time would have been on the menu. I can't tell you how long like I sat listening to like Devil May Cry, like just had it on, like
yeah.
Definitely. So I think that this was such a great conversation, such a beautiful topic, because it's something I feel like a lot of people don't talk about a lot.
Agreed. It is hard. It's hard to talk about because you can't really go into the nitty gritty. But no, very good topic. We want to thank you guys as always. Truly, we're recording this so early, but obviously like in the moment. So like this is it. We're back. I think when this episode goes live, like we are back. Like we're probably talking to each other and stuff, but we probably just couldn't record it that week. But we do appreciate you guys watching these last 3 recorded ones. Recorded ones happen from time to time when, something happens on a Thursday or whatever. So you'll see them every now and then, but we'll be going back at least next week for sure, I assume, to the live stream format. So, Sway, is there any Happy July, everybody? Is there anything you want to say, Sway? We're like in mid-July, so Happy July is such a stupid thing.
happy belated 4th to all of you.
I think, but we had another episode closer to that is the joke. Like we should have said it like a week ago, I think.
And then I'll give a shout out to a community member here, Paul. He actually inspired me for the topic of today. He had mentioned something about music, and that's where it clicked in my mind to do music and gaming. So that is shout out to you, inspiration.
yeah, no, and we're always up for the favorite character we took from a live stream kind of thing as well. So we're always up for we like doing the live streams, I think, because it gives us more ideas, to be fair, right? But we appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate the support. Where we're at currently, the show is doing better like each week. Like we're growing it, so I feel good about it. And we're in the dog days of summer. I don't expect it to be too amazing, during this stretch, but it'll pick back up. Thank you guys for watching. We really do appreciate it. We'll see you all on the next one.